play the season. Avdiel, sorry. His name's a little tricky for me to say. I just want to talk about how excited I am to see him play this season. He probably was one of the most improved players that I've seen in any short period of time. But last season, when he started the season, he wasn't bad, but it seemed like hadn't really found his groove. And throughout the season, as he continued playing through league play and everything, him and his team just nonstop improved, and it honestly was something that was, I think, completely unexpected by the rest of the league, and just phenomenal to watch, especially playing against him.
Indeed, Avdiel is definitely the most improved player in Havoc. The only other player who can really compare to him, really, is the likes of Thirsty, right? Back when Thirsty first joined in Season 4, he went from a Champ 1 all the way up to a Grand Champ, and that was old Grand Champ. That was when it was 15-15 MMR still. So both players have improved a lot, but Avdiel did go from C3 all the way to what we would consider a top player in Havoc. So I think that maybe outweigh Thirsty just a little bit, but at the same time, both feats are phenomenal. But if without further ado, let's get into the rest of this game. Still 0-0, and Chubik is about to clear the ball down the field.
Absolutely. Very back and forth so far here. Alpha T getting a good touch out. Avdiel making a good clear out into the blue side. Matthias going to have a free shot here. Puts it left side and is able to capitalize on that. Beautiful placement here from Matthias.
3.5 minutes into the game, and Team Gray have scored their first goal of the season. We do have to remember that Team Gray had a bye week last week. If you guys want to know who had the bye week this week, Flu Esports White, the team that promoted from the Academy League after the seeding tournament, is the one who's going to have a bye week this week. But we still have Flu Esports Black and Flu Esports Pink later tonight. However, it's going to be another chance here, and Avdiel puts it in the back of the net off the pass from App Manager. That's what we like to see.
Absolutely. And what's so scary to me about Team Grays, when they get on a roll, they just use that momentum. They definitely, in my opinion, are a very momentum-based team. Definitely, even when they're not on their momentum, the second they start feeling a little bit more confidence, they start getting a little bit better touches, getting a little bit more goals moving forward, their speed and it just picks up. They just continuously get better. As you can see, this pressure on Team Blue's net right now. They just have all the pressure. They're taking control. They're putting pressure on. Speaking of, Caster Curse, Chubik gets a phenomenal goal here for Team Blue.
Look at this, and of course Matthias is the sub for Team Gray. He's playing in place of Faith, but he just wasn't able to read where that ball was going to bounce, and it led to Chubik being able to get a free shot into the top left corner. Amazing shot. However, it is going to be back to a 1-goal lead here for Team Gray. However, I don't think that's going to slow them down at all.
Absolutely not. It definitely seemed like a minor hiccup, even throughout from their first goal into from their second goal, I apologize, into Team Aqua's first goal. Team Gray definitely had the pressure throughout the entirety of that play, and just a bad possession play in their back corner leading to a goal. But that's going to happen. But I definitely think moving forward, we're going to see that Team Gray is going to hold on to this momentum and keep using it going forward, and they're just going to keep building their confidence.
And there we go. That's, however, Caster Curse once more, tied 2-2. Team Aqua really putting on a show. We saw Team Aqua not really able to show what they're good at last week going against Team Gold. However, right now, even after getting scored on twice at the beginning of the match, they've tied it back up.
Very good on Team Aqua here to tie it back up. I'm going to blame that completely on Caster Curse. Now that I'm not talking about it anymore. Now that I'm not talking about it anymore. Oh my goodness.
Tied back up, and when App Manager puts the ball right into the top left part of the net, Team Gray definitely not slowing down at all. They just got scored on. Essentially, Team Gray are just trying to score more. Who cares about trying to save the ball? They're just trying to put the ball in the net more than the other team, which, as simple as that sounds to do, it's really not in this game called Rocket League. And Team Gray are actually pulling it off.
Absolutely. And on Team Aqua side here, I'm familiar with left stick more than anybody. You said Chubik was a sub here for one of the players that I'm slipping up on the name now, but I'm not familiar with Punj or Chubik. Actually, if you could give me a little bit more insight into
Yeah,
it.
so Punch, he's on a team with Levstick, and I believe Chubik is subbing in. I do not remember for what player. And of course, on the other side of things, we got Matthias subbing in for Faith. But with 2 minutes left on the clock, 4-2 to Team Gray. Team Gray are just going up every single time they get tied.
Absolutely. Definitely very, very good. Like, beautiful 50 right there from at manager. Just keeping the possession a little bit better, keeping it in Team Science half just a little bit longer, forcing Team Cyan into weird positions here. You can see that Team Gray are kind of just running circles around him as Team Science trying to get back out. Left stick with a beautiful possession play to clear it out onto Team Gray's half.
Here comes Team Aqua, saving the ball over to the corner, back over to Punch. Punch, again, getting the 50-50 out for his team. And here comes Levstick leading the charge here for Team Aqua. Pops the ball forward, back over to Avdiel. Avdiel into the air. Look at these mechanics. Possession all day long. Avdiel's improved so much, and hopefully soon he'll be able to find a groove with his team and maybe be able to do well in those RLCS qualifiers that are happening next week. However, still 1 minute left on the clock, and still Team Aqua who are going to have to try and fight back in this game number 1.
Absolutely. And what's so refreshing to see is, like we saw there from Abdiel, beautiful possession play to get it over into a safer spot. And sometimes in these games, it is super refreshing to see that, because sometimes we miss out on that. A lot of players get in kind of this tunnel vision of just booming the ball and trying to beat people to the ball, and not thinking about what they want to do with their touch, or maintaining possession on it so they can have a better follow-up touch. So definitely very nice to see that there from Abdiel. You can easily tell how much he's improved over these past couple of months.
However, right there, that's going to be Chubik getting another goal on the board, bringing it back within 1 with 30 seconds left. At this moment, at this juncture, Panda, what do you think is going to have to happen to make sure that Team Aqua does get the tie game here in the last 30 seconds?
They're definitely going to have to hold on to possession and pressure in Team Gray's half. It seems like they're just not maintaining the same level of possession that Team Gray has been. But if they can get Team Gray back in their own half, Team Gray seems to be making a lot of defensive mistakes here. So if they can pressure them and force out those mistakes in defense, Team Aqua should be able to get out a pretty free goal.
Indeed, and we're seeing a lot of chemistry plays based on Team Aqua. As you can see, they're following up each other's touches super quickly. However, with that amazing touch there from Team Gray, the ball might have been launched out to their side. One last chance here for Team Aqua, but no one's there for the pass. Punch gets a solid touch. Ball's going to bounce out to the corner. Punch puts the ball off the backboard. The ball's going to touch the ground.
It's off of last season, but by how Team Gray played last season, I would expect a sweep. But given how Game 1 went with how close Team Aqua kept it, I'm not sure that we're going to see a sweep. Maybe a 3-1 or a 3-2, but I'm still giving it to Team Gray here.
Indeed, and Team Aqua are kind of looking similar to Team Red of last season. Remember Team Red last season with Echo Spirit on that team? They, for some reason, were always able to keep it close, even against the top teams, but were never able to finish out series. And right now, Team Aqua, they looked okay against Team Gold, and they look fine against Team Gray, but maybe we're going to see almost the same type of situation in regards to Team Aqua this season, where they do well against every team they play against and just aren't able to pull out wins.
Absolutely. Some teams just have that choke factor. I would know very much about that because my team can't seem to win in the grand finals and or semifinals when it seems to actually matter, but can win everything else. So sometimes it just happens. The pressure gets to you. You know that you can win, and you're unable to capitalize on it. Speaking of left stick, opening up the scoring here in game 2.
There we go. So what we like to see, left stick just charging in, and again, it's Matthias, the sub here for Team Gray. 0 boost and still pushes the ball in front of the net. Maybe a little bit of panic. Some players, especially around this skill level of GC2, GC3, they have a problem where once they're on 0 boost, their skill level goes from GC3 to around Plat 2, and they end up just putting the ball right in front of their own net, setting up the other team. However, Matthias tends to only make one mistake a series, one mistake a game. So hopefully we see him fix that up and try to get this team back in the lead.
Absolutely. And like you said, the 0 boost play is something that people don't like to practice. It's not necessarily the most fun thing to practice, and not necessarily something that comes into play like quite a bit, but definitely probably one of the most helpful things when you're progressing up to the higher GC ranks is being able to understand what you can and can't do when you're on 0 boost, and changing your positioning and play style around that can be a make or break in a game for you.
That's exactly it, but here we go. Chubik passes the ball to the backboard. Chance here for a punch. It's going to be off the post. Now it's going to be cleared away, and Chubik's going to get the ball away once more. 3 minutes left on the clock, and Team Aqua looking fixed to try and take their first game this season. Of course, they got swept last week, but if they manage to get a game here, this could definitely be a close series.
Absolutely, and that was a beautiful touch there by Punch to just make it even more awkward for Team Gray on their goal line, giving a reasonably free shot to I forget who scored that. I blanked out.
I believe it was Chubik, but here we go. Back over to Matthias. Matthias looking for a pass mid. Ball's going to get bounced off the backboard by Manager. Here comes FDL with the third man. Sam can't put the ball in the back of the net. Back over to Matthias. Looks for the shot. It's going to be saved away by left stick. There's some more pressure here for Team Gray as they look into woken up once again. But with just a one single possession play from Punch, they're back on their back. They're on their back foot.
Team Aqua definitely getting out of those pressure plays a lot better moving forward into this series. It seems that Team Gray isn't necessarily getting into them a whole lot less, but Team Aqua is just having better breakaways from those. And Team Gray is just losing grip of their possession in Team Aqua's half as much, and Team Aqua are capitalizing on that as Lefstick gets another goal for his team, making it 3-0 about halfway through the game.
Lefstick is definitely a very solid player. He's definitely gained experience. Honestly, his only problem last season when he was on Team Purple were those backboard reads. I believe he lost a few series just to missing the ball off of his own backboard a few times. But it looks like he's fixed that, and not only that, he's been helping out on the offense. But here, right off the kickoff, Matthias brings it back within 2.
What is this goal here? Was this just just perfect place at the perfect time? Beautiful little doink here for Matthias. Definitely, Team Gray's going to be glad that he's subbing in for them. Definitely a solid sub, not somebody who you're going to be hindered with moving forward in your series.
Indeed. Manager pushes the ball forward. Now it's going to be over to Matthias. Matthias actually gets a perfect read on that touch, almost launching it down the field. Now it's going to be over to Chubik. Manager passes the ball mid over to Avdiel. Avdiel is going to whiff. Looks like Matthias off the demo is going to be the only one last on defense, and left stick doesn't get the bump, but Team Gray now going to come out of offense here with possession. Manager into the air, looking to pop the ball past 1, gets it past 1, looking to get it past 2, past 3, can't get it past Chubik, and the game is still going to be up by 2 for Team Aqua.
Beautiful play there by Team Gray, just not able to capitalize. Manager doing a lot of work there. A lot of back and forth here, but overall, Team Aqua definitely has the pressure moving forward in this game, and they're probably going to tie up the series here. But definitely interesting to see how the dynamic has changed a lot more in Team Aqua's favor here in Game 2 versus Game 1. If they keep this up, if the rest of the games go like this, Team Aqua can easily take this series.
What I'm noticing right now is Team Gray have hit the post and crossbar now 2 or 3 times, but it looks like Avdiel is going to put that caster curse again to be true as he puts the ball in the back of the net. But one thing we saw earlier from Team Gray in this match is that they kept hitting the crossbar and post, and even though they just proved me wrong right there, they could be up 4-3 right now. So it looks like just another one of the situations where the better team at this moment in time is just not able to slot their shots, and it's ended up allowing teams to take games in the past. Of course, we saw Team Cyan last season around Split 1, where Team White just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, went all the way to a Game 5. But then even last week with Team Blue, it looked like there were just some problems on defense, and they just couldn't execute the way they want.
Sometimes that's the only thing that's limiting you. You can have everything else great in your gameplay, but if you can't put it between those goalposts or between the crossbar on the ground, then you're not going to be able to score, and you're not going to win a game like that if you can never score a goal. So definitely that is something that needs to be tidied up at a bare minimum before getting into a series that's going to be especially close, because that can easily absolutely change the entire dynamic of a series. You could definitely come up with a lot of upsets just based on goal placement. If you're barely missing, you're just hitting a lot of crossbar.
One thing I want to take note of right now at this moment in time is Team Gray. Team Gray are just putting so much pressure on the offense. They're double committing just to keep the play fast, but ended up not working out, and it's actually going to lead to Team Aqua potentially getting the last second goal. Anything we've learned from in the past is high speed and high pressure can be enough to win games. Of course, we saw at the end of the last season, Team Grey versus Team Cyan in the playoffs. Team Grey picked up their pace so much that they were able to take games just off speed alone. And speaking of speed, the king of speed, Avdiel, managed to get his first goal here.
Absolutely. Chubik and Left Stick just not even near Abdiel by the time he's flicking that ball over the both of them. Abdiel just so quick when he really wants to be. He can walk it past multiple defenders like it's nothing. Abdiel's such a great player. If he continues to play like that and his teammates can support him and his play style around that, they can definitely try to not drop any more games in this series. But they're going to have to learn how to play around that.
Chubik almost got an amazing double tap there, but he definitely opened up the space right here. The pressure for Team Aqua is on. However, with both players in the offensive corner facing away from the ball, they lost pressure momentarily, but Chubik again carrying his team to the offensive side. Left Stick looking for the shot. Wasn't able to get back to it, but here comes Chubik, passes the ball mid. It's over Punch. Ball gets launched over to the side. Back over to App Manager. App Manager looking for a pass mid. He gets the mid off the 50-50. He's looking for the follow. Can't get the follow. And now with a minute left in the game, Team Grey still only leading by 1 goal.
It's beautiful to see as this series has gone on. It seems like each and every player is just continuing to step it up more and more. Sometimes you get into these series where everybody pops off in game one and then the quality slowly starts to drop down, but it seems like everybody's going for more mechanical, more possession-based plays that are yielding these really good plays, and the defense in return is getting even better to reflect that, to make the saves on this, and the gameplay is just getting so beautiful throughout this. At Manager with an missed open net. That's unfortunate. Sometimes you just can't get around the ball.
You know, sometimes there is beauty in misses. However, I'm just going to call that a caster curse. Right when you call it beautiful, then we see a misplay on the empty net. However, with a minute left in the clock, with a goal on the board right now for Team Grey, they're ended up sitting back in net. We saw this at the end of game number 1, where they got the goal lead and they just stopped putting on the pressure. And it looks like they're afraid that they're going to start missing shots and just want to play some defense. However, they only had 1 save last game, so I don't know if resorting to defense is going to be best for their playstyle.
I agree. It looks like Team Aqua going for a lot of like team-based passing. They're just not able to click as well. I've noticed Team Grey, when they go for these team-based passing plays, seem to have a lot more chemistry, even though that they have, both teams have a sub on their team, but even though Matthias is subbing for Team Grey, they just seem to have a lot better chemistry than Team Aqua has. Team Aqua in the last play tried to pull a little team passing play out, and it just they just fumbled all over and ended up throwing up possession and just giving the ball away to Team Grey. Just something I wanted to point out, that there seems to be a bit more chemistry going on for Team Grey than there is for Team Aqua at the moment.
And look at that, right after you say that, you almost get a play right there off the backboard. There's so much trust in Team Grey. Even though they're double committing, it looks like that's their strategy. They're trying to double commit. They're trying to confuse the opponents. They're trying to be as fast as possible. App Manager looking for a double flip reset. Avdiel puts a weak shot on target, but here's Matthias with the follow-up, gets out 50. And with that third man stand for Matthias, it could have been deadly for Team Grey, but it's Team Aqua managed to bump each other, which ends up leading with Team Grey remaining on the offensive side. 50-50 from App Manager, shot from Matthias, but this time it's saved away once again by Left Stick.
I will say that At Manager has surprised me so many times in this series so far. It just seems like he's reached a new level of being able to support his team and set stuff up. And look at this, just outplaying the defense, getting a weird pinch up the backboard, able to get a touch off the crossbar that just completely confuses Chubik. At Manager's constantly surprising me in this series. It's continuing to get better.
Indeed. App Manager's doing so well on this team, and apparently he hasn't been grinding as much as he used to. Apparently the game he's been grinding is Valorant, so you can definitely see his sniping skills on the Rocket League pitch this moment in time, as he's been the one who's missed the fewest amount of nets so far, launching the ball off the crossbar. But here comes Avdiel, has an empty net, he doesn't miss this one, and Team Grey once again go up by 3.
Quite a bit of just whiffs here. Left Stick running out of boost, and Chubik just not taking his time on the follow-up. Just lends a completely open net here to Team Grey. It looks like this series, with how it's going so far, is just going to be back and forth, and we might end up going to 5 games here. Team Grey definitely more comfortable in game 1, and Team Aqua definitely more comfortable in game 2. And we're back here in game 3, and Team Grey seem to have the pressure and the goals here. And I wouldn't be surprised if in Game 4 we're back at Team Aqua again, leading out the charge for the first half of the game.
Exactly. This series has been completely back and forth. However, even though it has been back and forth, I think it's been Team Gray that has been the team that's determined if they win or lose. Of course, we saw last game they just couldn't put the ball between the posts. But when they're on point, they're demolishing game number 1. They kept going up even after going down by a couple of goals. They kept scoring and scoring. And this has happened in game 1 and 3. If they can just remain consistent for one more game, I definitely think they can take it in 4.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you with how you're saying that. It's based on Team Gray and what they're doing. It seems more so that Team Gray are losing games for themselves instead of Team Aqua winning the games. But right now, at the end of Game 3, Team Gray definitely not slacking right now, making the most out of all this beautiful pass here by Matthias and great follow-up. Abdia.
Exactly, and it kind of reminds me of the European scene in RLCS X, where teams could beat BDS in games, they could beat BDS in series, for example. However, it's more on calculating and fixing BDS's mistakes. I remember Top Blokes, when they won their first regional last season, they beat BDS in that winners final, and the way they did it was physically just capitalizing on BDS's mistakes. BDS just kept hitting the post, and it looks like that's what Team Aqua are able to do right now. They're trying to win a series, being those Top Blokes against a BDS level team, and with how fast Team Gray is, I think that analogy works perfectly in this series.
Absolutely. I think that's an absolutely perfect example to so quickly. Virtually very little downtime from them losing Chubik to them getting a sub in here to take his place. Not very much of a long of a wait at all, and I just respect that from that team of having that unlock very well and just having that buttoned up.
Indeed, Manaur's going to be up to see. I do not personally know the rank of Wappies, but it looks like he is a very positional player just right off the bat, looking for bumps, looking for demos, realizing that if 2 teammates are back on defense, he doesn't need to be there just yet. He can look for those demos and try to open up space for his team.
Absolutely. Definitely going to have to judge as the game goes on what kind of a player he is and how he's going to fit into this team dynamic. And it's going to change a lot of this series moving forwards. Team Gray coming out here with the momentum here in Game 4 against Team Aqua. But if Wappies fits well into Team Aqua's playstyle, we could see a shift of momentum here in the midst of Game 4 going into Game 5.
Indeed. However, we've seen this in the past. I remember in the playoffs, Team Cyan had to use their sub, and right when they switched to their sub, Team Gray weren't able to hack it. So maybe this could be a situation where just by using the sub, they mess up the team dynamic of what is happening in Team Gray just enough to be able to get the win here. Let's see if Team Aqua are going to be able to do that. Panda, do you think that there's going to be enough of a change that's going to happen, or do you think Team Gray have matured from that moment in time?
It's hard for me to tell because it's been so long outside of this series that I've seen Team Gray play, and each team is different. Adding Wappies to the team of Team Aqua in the middle of the series could make significantly less of a change than a different player on a different roster in the middle of the series. But I mean, as somebody who almost lost the series last week because of a sub mid-series, I would say that it's perfectly possible, and and honestly, anything could happen when you change that big of a dynamic mid-series. Then really, anybody's guess is best guess.
Indeed. But however, Team Gray are going to be up 1-0 at this moment in time. 3 minutes left. Team Gray looks like are going to be trying to maintain the lead. Them trying to maintain the lead back in game number 3 ended up working to the point where they were able to rebuild up pressure. Looks like Team Gray's strategy right now is to get a quick goal if they can, and then slowly build up the pressure as the game goes out to the point where Team Aqua won't be able to do anything. However, it's going to be a chance there, but Punj is going to put the ball over to the side and looking to maintain possession as he goes off the wall. He looks for the must. He doesn't have the boost, and he ends up just pinching the ball forward. It's going to be a pass mid. Wappy's into the air, has a chance to get his first goal, and Havoc isn't able to get the ball. Ball's going to be off the crossbar once more. Follow from left stick, and that's going to be a tied game right at the midway point.
That was a beautiful beat there by Wappies to put Aviel in a weird position, forcing him to make a bad touch, and left stick there to clean it up. Left stick's such a solid player, but Wappies so far, I wouldn't say slacking in his spot in this roster. for the remainder of this series. And you know, tying up the goal halfway through in Game 4, you know, definitely could turn around the momentum of this series.
That's all true right there. But now, ball's going to be over to App Manager, launches the ball down the field, looking for a shot on his own. That's going to be the solo play. And once again, App Manager stepping up for his team. Panda as MVP of Week 1. What do you look for? Like, of course, you got MVP with outstanding Game 5 OT clutching up for your team. But overall, for an MVP level player, what do you look for in a team?
I look for somebody that not only can, you know, sit back and on his own, you know, clutch up and make a play for his team, but somebody that can be that anchor, that solid last man, that man that glues everything together no matter what. And if they're in a sticky situation, the person that's making the play that's going to end up making that's going to end up giving them a better position, the person that's setting up passes or clearing out the net, getting demos, getting bumps, person that's heavily involved in a lot of the aspects of the game, if not all aspects of the gameplay. It's something like how we've seen At Manager in this series. At Manager has been playing phenomenally. I mean, you saw that last play. He said, you know, I don't need teammates. I'm just going to beat out the last man by myself and just pass it off the backboard to myself. Definitely MVP material in my mind, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's an amazing definition of what you could get for MVP. Not just somebody who can clutch up, but somebody who can be the rock for that team. But now a minute left in the game here for Team Aqua to try and tie it up and bring it to a Game 5. But Abdiel's going to put this shot on target. Minute left on the clock, up now by 2.
Beautiful patience and play here by Abdiel. Just unexpected by Wappies, not able to make contact in the back of the net. Abdiel definitely coming through, stepping up a little bit more. You know, Abdiel being the little bit more mechanical player that we know he has been in recent times to step up and get some clutch goals for his team. A lot of, as Matthias scores, a lot of confusion on the goal line for Team Aqua, resulting in a 3-goal lead here for Team Gray with just a minute left.
It looks like my prediction was correct on what Team Gray were going for. Just like in game number 3, they started off by getting a goal, and slowly they've built up that pressure. And now that the pressure is completely building, they're now up by 3 goals in the last minute, and it might take a miracle for Team Aqua to come back unless they can get a goal here right now. But left stick whiffs the ball, and Matthias is going to try and keep the ball on the offensive side just long enough to waste down that clock. At Manager looking for a redirect, ends up leaving it for Abdiel. Abdiel looking for the Doomsday dish, isn't able to get back to it, and At Manager will pop it up, trying to keep that pressure. Now with 30 seconds left on the clock, I honestly don't see Team Aqua leaving their half, let alone getting a goal. But as I say that, they do manage to get the dunk out to the other side of the field.
Definitely a little bit cast or curse. The second you're talking about that, they managed to get a lucky clear out, but I don't think there's anything that Team Aqua can do at this point moving forward. Team Gray just managed to push through and come out with a win here. Great series, great fought by Team Aqua. Definitely gave Team Gray a run for the money on you know, it wasn't a clean, easy sweep of a series for Team Gray.